This is Savannah Rae, and you're listening to the Garrett Smith Podcast.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to episode 47 of the Garrett Smith Podcast. We're creeping up on number 50 quickly, and today we have with us Savannah Rae, who is joining us from, I have no idea where you are, but I believe you're on the road right now. What state are you in?
I am currently in Mississippi, I believe.
Oh, okay. I knew. I was like, well, if I throw a dart on a map somewhere between Texas and Tennessee, so who knows?
Yeah, you'll probably find me there.
Actually, so let me get this right. So you're going to Nashville, or you're from Nashville to Texas? Which way are we going?
So I'm actually from San Antonio, Texas, born and raised, but I just moved over to Tennessee, so I'm head back home.
Cool. That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually was there week before last, not performing or anything, but just kind of passing through and pretending I was. Yeah, it's a pretty hopping place. If you can get past not being able to park in Nashville, it's a pretty cool environment.
Oh yeah, downtown parking in Nashville is rough.
Well, it's funny, I kick these things off, tell everyone how I discovered the artists, and I've kind of been following you for a while, probably a couple of years now on social media and everything, and it seems like you've kind of been all over the place. I think you've put some posts from New Mexico, some College Station, and it's you're one of those all over the place travelers, it seems like. So is this just kind of the norm for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been traveling since I was little. We've lived in like 10 to 15 different states. I'm not exactly sure the count right now. I'd probably have to look at a map. But yeah, we're kind of just travelers. We're always on the road, me and my family. And that's just how it is with us, I guess.
Well, I think, coming out of COVID, that's kind of how a lot of people are. Just like people just want to travel for the sake of getting out at this point. I know I was certainly that way.
Right. Yeah. Oh, completely. I completely understand that. That's us too.
Well, you've definitely been busy. So I noticed you've got this new single out, and we're going to get to that here in a second. But just kind of tell us what all you've been working on.
Yeah, sure. I've been kind of just ever since the pandemic, I had so many shows scheduled for last year, 2020, and everything, got canceled. I think the final show that I was supposed to play was the Houston Stock Show and Rodeo. And I was super jazzed about that because I just played the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. But then the Houston one just got canceled along with, the 82 other fairs, festivals, and everything that I had. And so we were like, okay, kind of back to the drawing board of what to do. And so it's just been a lot of writing, a lot of recording, a lot of trips, because at that time I was living in Texas. So a lot of trips from San Antonio to Nashville, just really working and getting some stuff written so that when, things start opening back up, which now they are, I can kind of start dropping some songs and hopefully get back on the road again.
Well, I love to see the bounce back. I think that was a good way to approach COVID, is the fact that you could either sit and wait or get creative with how you operate. And I think a lot of people in the music world, it was almost like ants on an anthill. Everybody just kind of scrambled to do live streams or just managed to stay active. But it's good that you were able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did a lot of live streams, a lot of virtual concerts, just to kind of, keep things fresh and also keep me kind of fresh and keep my chops up performing and stuff. I mean, it's nothing, of course, like playing live to an actual crowd in a venue, but, just singing to people watching. And it was definitely something that I wanted to do to make sure that I was on, right there when things started opening back up again, not kind of trailing behind or trying to catch up. I wanted to be right there back when things started to open.
Well, that's really cool. And speaking of new projects, I was listening actually earlier today to Soft Place to Land. Kind of tell us about that song and how that's been received.
Yeah, Soft Place to Land is actually a song that I call, I don't know if you ever watched Bob Ross, but he calls things little happy accidents.
Yeah.
I call Soft Place to Land our little happy accident. I wrote it with this guy named Britton Cameron out in Nashville, who's written for people like John Party and Dylan Carmichael. And me and him write together all the time. He's great. And so I was actually going into the studio to work on a completely different song. I think I had a 4-hour block. And so 3 of those hours we were working on this completely different song. And so, we had an hour left, so we started fiddling around on the guitar. I started just throwing out some ideas. We're like, oh, let's write a little something, with this time that we have left. And about 45 minutes, the entire song of A Soft Place to Land was written. And I had a good feeling about it. He had a good feeling about it. Sent it to my management. They had a good feeling about it. And we were like, okay, let's work on this. Let's see where it goes. Of course, the recording process did not take 45 minutes. That one took a little longer. But so we worked on it for a little bit of time, and we really liked it. And so I put it out, and the response to it has been really, really great, because that was my first single that I'd released, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, maybe longer, maybe 2 years. And so it was good to finally have something out there to, let people listen to, and for me to promote, and, something new for me to sing.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it's being well received, because, and I was going to wait till we're on the podcast to say this, but, just listening to that, I do think it's the best one you've put out so far. And I know everyone wants to hear that when I've got a new song, because it's like, oh, I hope I'm getting better, but no, this one I think is really good. So I am actually going to play that right here. This is Soft Place to Land. Soft place to land. So take me through your story as a musician. You know, when did it start for you, and who influenced you, and kind of like what took you along that journey?
Sure. So I would say that my parents have been such a big influence on me and really kind of gave me this love of music ever since I was a kid. And, they gave me everything from Motley Crue to Beethoven. And so I kind of run the gamut on things. And they actually started taking me to concerts when I was little. I've been to probably over 150 concerts in my lifetime that are not my own concerts. And so I've always loved the live shows and everything, and fostered such a great appreciation for music that way in all genres of music. But I specifically remember we were at an Evanescence concert in San Antonio at the Sunken Gardens Theater, and I was around 11 years old, and I absolutely loved Amy Lee, and I just thought that she was like a badass. And so hearing her sing, I turned to my mom. I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be like her. I want to do what she's doing. And so, my parents took me very seriously in that. And so they enrolled me in guitar lessons and vocal lessons. And the rest was pretty much history. I started doing music professionally since I was 12. So I'm 22 now. It's been about a decade. And I've done everything from pop to rock to alternative to, Broadway, you name it, I've pretty much done it. I just have such a love for music, but country is kind of always where I've fallen back, and kind of that's pretty much who I am at my core. So
you can definitely hear like the rock and pop influence in your country songs, but there's also, it's definitely still country. So I do like how you're able to incorporate that, because a lot of people, they'll jump real far in and be like, well, I'm still country. And it's like, dude, there's nothing country about your song, but you maintain it. And it's kind of cool that you're able to mix the different areas. And you mentioned Motley Crue. It's kind of funny because I was actually listening to their entire discography over the last 2 days while I was doing some trainings. It's kind of like, well, I guess they're still an influence on a lot of us.
Oh yeah. That definitely. Yeah. They're probably my favorite band if I had to choose one.
Did you get to see them before they did their final tour, which turned out to not be the final tour?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I saw them when I was probably 15.
I mean, everyone's like, oh, they can't, Vince can't sing like he used to or whatever. I'm like, well, duh. I mean, it's when you're from the 80s, that happens. But I will say that they probably put on one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, I saw them. They did a joint tour with Kiss. It was them and Kiss, and that was probably one of the loudest concerts I think I've ever been to. I think my ears are still ringing like 2 days after that.
I remember when they did that. Was that around like 2015 or somewhere around that?
Something like that. I was like 15 or 16, around that area.
Yeah, that wasn't the tour I went to, but it was pretty cool. But, and before I go on, cause I'm dissecting all these influences here that you just mentioned, but, you mentioned Amy Lee and Evanescence. Do you happen to be a Hailstorm fan too?
Oh, I love Lizzie Hale. I was just listening to her literally like 30 minutes ago.
That's awesome. So their first album was like in 2010. And I remember in college, the song It's Not You was like the single. And that came on one day on my way to class in college. So my roommate and I, we just started listening to it. I was like, who are these people? Like, they're really good. But they came to Belton, Texas before anyone really knew who they were. So we actually my wife and I got to meet all four of them. They did like a meet and greet in the hallway between Stone Sour and Theory of a Dead Man. So it was really cool. They were super nice folks, but I mean, they've blown up now, so that I don't think they'd be doing that. But so you've got influences from all over these different genres and everything. But what kind of made you decide, country was the scene you wanted to go for?
I mean, I'm from Texas. I'm from a little town called Bernie, right outside of San Antonio. And it's kind of just in my blood, honestly. I grew up with it. It's just like rock to me, country and rock, that I just grew up with that. That's kind of who I am at my core. I mean, the first job that I ever wanted to have was I wanted to be a horse trainer until I found music. And of course, that kind of took over. But I mean, it's always been there for me.
And that's another thing I love is when people say, I want to sing country, but you can kind of tell sometimes if it's from the heart or not. And I'm glad you actually mentioned that it is, because it's like you can just kind of tell it's a part of life. But
yeah. And being from Texas, too, I mean, that's just like, it's just kind of who we are down there.
Well, and our music scene too. AJ Gale once said, he's like, the Texas country scene is for people that want to play punk rock, but we live in Texas, so we can't.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So how did, what took you from being interested in music and singing to playing your first shows?
Yeah, I mean, I just, I was enrolled in guitar and vocal lessons. I was actually enrolled in this thing called Rockstar Academy. If you've ever seen the movie School of Rock, it's kind of exactly like that, where me and a bunch of other 12-year-olds would get together and play our instruments and come up with some sort of band and go and play shows. We would do everything from, Rush to Iron Maiden to Paramore to whatever we wanted, pretty much. And that's kind of what got me hooked onto, okay, this is really, what I want to do. And then I started kind of doing my own solo stuff and just going out with me and a guitar or me and a guitarist and just kind of going at it like that.
So this is going to sound really random until people hear where I'm leading with it. But I was at I was at our family ranch on Dime Box, Texas, not long ago. And I hate bottled water. Like, I just like, especially, I don't know why. And I should probably bleep out that I said that because they watched them try to be a sponsor or something. But it tastes like plastic to me. But my granddad actually had some of these Sea-Force bottles. And y'all, I swear she's not paying me to give this shout out. You're always posting about those. And so what kind of brought that connection about? Because I will say that is the first time I was like, wow, either I'm really thirsty or this water is actually pretty good. Maybe it's just because Chuck Norris is a superhero,
maybe it's just Chuck. I know. I actually just posted a picture with them. That's funny you say that. Sea-Force is such a great company, and they actually reached out to me through, I guess, just finding me on Instagram, and they're like, hey, have you ever tried our water? And I said, not yet, but I'm about to, apparently. And so they were kind enough to send some my way, and I'm a water snob. I'm not gonna lie. My family are water snobs as well. We love some good water, and we love Sea-Force. It absolutely is so great. And so I'm very blessed to be able to be partnered up with, a company like Sea-Force and the owner of the company, Chuck Norris, and very, very blessed to be able to do that.
That's really cool. It's funny. So this was after we had scheduled this interview, because it was a few weeks ago. And so when I was drinking this, I got to make a note to myself to bring this up when we're on the podcast. But that definitely happened. So I'm going to throw another song in here, and I'm going to play the song I Hate You. And I'm not telling her I hate her, folks. It's the name of the song. Check this out.
Could care less if you're in a traffic jam, 'cause boy, you're late. And I kept her at the hair salon so you don't have a plate. I waited for you, now it's my turn to play you. I don't mean to get political, but you won't have my vote. I don't care if you're a castaway, you don't have a boat. This time, there's no one here to save you. I'll write my name on your hood, I'll write my name on your chest. I'll take your card and charge anything I want to. I'll put on her favorite dress and leave her bathroom a mess and cut your white sheets in two. I love it, I hate you. I hate you. And I hope you pay for everything you ever said and did. And you're running out of cash because the way you like to live. 'Cause you were wrong, boy, and you're paying now. And I hope you read my diaries and understood my pain. When you left me, I was cold and frightened, standing in the rain. But now you're gone, boy, and I'm moving on. I'll write my name on your hood, I'll write my name
So, of all your songs, which ones would you say have the best backstories?
What was that?
Oh, of all your songs, like which ones would you say have the best backstories?
The best backstories. I mean, I love the backstory for Soft Place to Land, just because, it's such how we wrote it is so funny to me. And just the sheer amount of time that we took to write it, which was really no time at all. I think that's hilarious. But I have some songs coming out really soon that probably have the best backstories, but I can't give those away yet.
Oh, so that's kind of like a wink, wink to our listeners.
That's a wink. That's a wink, wink. That's a nudge, nudge.
So
very, very soon.
Be on the lookout for those. And you've done music videos too.
Yes.
What's that experience been like for you?
I love shooting music videos. I think they're super fun, and they're a really cool way, to give across a visual of what I'm just trying to convey in the song, even if it's, something fun, lighthearted. I love music videos. I have some great ones coming out very, very soon. Another wink, wink.
Oh, wow. We're getting a lot of winks on here.
We're getting a lot of winks on here. I have one that is written. The song is written by country music legend Pam Tillis and I. So I'm very, very excited to get that one out to everybody.
That is crazy because episode before last, I had Drew Fish on here. I don't know if you know Drew, but one of the songs we played was one that he and Pam Tillis did together and sang together on. So that's really crazy that's two of these last 3 episodes. Pam's been working on a song with somebody.
Oh yeah, she's everywhere.
Yeah, like what was that like? I mean, because that's somebody that's very big in the industry, and that's a pretty cool opportunity.
Right. I mean, like I said, having always been influenced by country ever since I was young. She's been on the radio, and she's been kind of in my life playing all of her tunes, and so it's just such a surreal feeling to be able to not only know her, but also to work with her, to work with someone of that caliber and who has that much just music experience and just sheer talent. It's crazy. I mean, she's a country music legend. So to be able to write with her and actually put out a song, it's coming soon, put out a song with her is just it's awesome. It's a dream come true for sure.
Well, I mentioned music videos a second ago. If you had to pick one of your songs to make your next video to, what would it be?
Ooh.
Unless that's one of the wink winks and we don't want to give it away.
Oh, that's one of the wink winks for sure.
Okay. Then I will just tell everyone, be on the lookout because that will be out soon. So as far as, we mentioned that you travel all over the place. What are some of your favorite venues or towns to perform?
Ooh, some of my favorite venues and towns to perform in. I mean, I love Texas. I got to go back to my hometown, San Antonio. Got to go back to Bernie. But I mean, just Texas in general. I just love performing in Texas. It's just something about being home like that. But also, I feel like that performing country music in Texas, there's something a little special. It's quite unlike any other place that I've played.
It's definitely different. I mean, the fact that it has its own scene, it's just it makes it unique to play here.
Yeah, I mean, I love performing in Nashville and everything too, now that I'm living over here in Tennessee, but Texas is always going to be home to me. And there's just something about that Texas country music and that Texas country sound that it's nothing quite like it.
What can we expect from you next that you can tell our listeners?
Yeah, so I said before that I have that song coming out with Pam. That is coming out very soon, very, very soon. And there will also be a music video for that. I am working on a lot of new music, a lot of new material that I hope to be releasing, whether as singles or an EP. I haven't decided yet, but definitely releasing that before the end of the year, and just touring shows and more shows. So I hope to be getting on the road as much as I possibly can. I know things are kind of weird right now, still kind of coming out of the pandemic, and everybody is still kind of, maybe we'll do this, maybe we won't. And so we're trying to really get things booked down, but fingers crossed that I can get back out and on the road.
Well, that'll be exciting to see. And for anyone who's tuning in that hasn't been following you yet, where would you direct people to follow your music and your posts and everything?
I would say that I post the majority of my stuff on Instagram, but I mean, I cross post everything on Facebook, Twitter, all of that. But I would say Instagram is probably my biggest, just because, stories and everything. It's just so easy to post up anything and everything on there. So, but every single handle is at the Savannah Rae to make it easy. And of course, Spotify is just Savannah Rae.
Awesome. Well, are you ready for the big three?
Yes.
All right. Number one, if you could collaborate with anyone out there, who would it be?
George Strait.
Good choice. If you could headline any venue, where would you go play?
Red Rocks.
That's a good one. For some reason, people used to say that one in Green Hall all the time on here, but we've kind of gone a while without anyone saying Red Rocks. I'm like, we're kind of on a Red Rocks drought, so you've brought it back. There you go.
Woo, bringing it back.
I was actually just watching Cody Jinks' show from there on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
What is, and this is the grand finale question, the funniest or craziest story you can tell from your music career so far?
Oh, man. Do you have like an hour and a half?
Sometimes these go that long.
The funniest or craziest story that I have from a music career. I don't know. I'll give you two. I'll give you an embarrassing one that I have. I was on tour and I was in Dallas and I had just played Houston the night before. I was exhausted. I was so tired. I had not slept, but I was ready to go, or so I thought I was. And full house at Dallas at I forget where we were, but man, I go out there and I go, "Hey y'all, what's up? How y'all doing? How y'all doing, Houston?
Oh,
what's
no.
up, guys?" And I immediately knew. I was like, "Oh no!" And then everyone in the crowd was like, "Oh no!" And we all just awkwardly stared at each other for a good amount of time. And I went, "Just kidding." It's like, Dallas, Dallas, Dallas. And yeah, I think that they hated me after that moment, and it's all right. I understand. But being from Texas, that was a little embarrassing. But I'll give you one of my craziest ones. This one is kind of one of those things where if you believe in like the law of attraction, you know, like putting things out into the world. And so this one is one of where I went to Universal Studios in California with my family, and we were just going for, you know, vacation for a good time. And they have this ride there called, I don't know what it's called, something like the Backlot Studio Tour, whatever it is. They take us on these little golf cart type vehicles, and they take us on a tour through the backlots of the actual working Universal Studios where they have all the TV shows and like The Voice and like all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, we're driving through it and I'm all thinking this is super, super cool. And I turned to my mom and I'm like, "I'm going to do something on this lot. Like, I'm going to do something here." It's like, "I don't know what it is, but I want to." And so she's like, "Okay, sure, go ahead." And so a couple months later, I get this call and it's like, "Hey, do you want to sing backup for Demi Lovato on The Voice?" I, of course, said, yeah.
Wow.
and so I got to sing backup, not only just on The Voice finale, but like on the American Music Awards and stuff. It was a whole thing, but specifically talking about The Voice one, it was such a fun time and I was super blessed to be able to do that. But I remember specifically going on a golf cart. I was getting to craft services on the lot, and then I pull around the corner that same little backstage lot studio tour wagon or whatever it's called, and it has all the people on there. And I'm just looking, and I'm like, wow, I was there, you know, a couple months ago, and they all waved to me, and I'm waving back, and I'm just having like this crazy little experience. Like, wow, I really like put that out into the world, and that actually really happened. And that's probably one of the coolest things, at least, that's happened to me.
That is really cool. That's no small offer.
No, it's not. It was just one of those moments that you're like, wow, when you speak things into existence, sometimes it actually really works.
Well, it sounds like things are working out, and you've got a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm excited for people to hear it. And I think that makes it fitting to close this episode out with Look Ahead. What do you think?
Awesome. Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, Savannah, I appreciate the interview, and y'all drive safe the rest of that trip.
All right. We definitely will. Thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. Y'all take care.
Hanging with the girls, ready for the weekend. Got a good feeling, gonna share some love. It's the open road, everybody dreaming. Seeing is believing, gotta take control. Throw all your fears aside and we're gonna be alright. And so long to chasing the past. You're braver than you think, stronger than you see. Your beauty inside and out. Shine bright like a supernova, ride the waves of an open ocean. Look ahead, there's no turning back. Just remember that anything's possible. Shine bright like a supernova, ride the waves of an open ocean. Look ahead, there's no turning back. Just remember that anything's possible. Only takes a spark to get a fire going. Wishing for something just can't see. When you reach the stars, live for every moment. Gotta really know that you love who you are. Though